Welcome back to Maintenance Monday. In today's video, I'm going to take you through some helpful tips to help make commuting by bike a little bit easier and a little bit more enjoyable. To help me do that, I've drafted in special guest, our resident beginner, Harriet.
You're right.
One of the stars of the Commuter Challenge, which is over on GCN. So if that sounds like your sort of thing, head over and check that out. Right, let's get to our tips, shall we? Let's do it.
Right, Alex, what is tip number one?
Right, I'm glad you asked. Tip number one, use lights, use reflectors, and use some reflective clothing. You want to make sure everyone can see you. Now, you're already a step ahead of the game here. We've got a rear light, a front light, and we've also got these incredible pedals that you were telling me about earlier.
Yes!
So what are these things?
Well, they light up at the front and the back. I'll show you on this one.
Yeah.
If you hold it, it lights like that, perfectly nice, and it has different modes, so it can flash to really make drivers see you.
So this is a light which you're going to use to increase your visibility. It's not something to actually see where you're going by.
No, yeah.
And I really like the fact that having this light on your foot when you're pedaling around is going to make it even more visible for drivers. What we want to do, we want to be safe. To do that, we're going to need to be seen.
Absolutely.
So Harriet, as well as your bike being nice and bright and visible, we want to make sure you're safe as well. So how are we going about that?
With a coat. This has reflective bits on it. I like to wear mostly grey and black, as you can see, so this is great for just putting over my clothes and making sure I'm that much more visible.
Perfect. Right, next tip is actually something that you were asking me about earlier, wasn't it?
Yes.
So take it away.
So, tyre pressure.
Yeah, now this is something that I think is particularly important, and I quite often see people getting wrong when they're commuting. They'll be cycling along with their tyres pretty flat, making life pretty difficult and just harder than it needs to be. So it's important to have your tyres inflated correctly. They don't want to be too soft and squidgy. The harder you pump them up, the bumpier it's going to make you ride, but your bike will roll along a little bit easier. Now, what you were asking me about earlier was to do with tyre pressures riding on bumpy surfaces.
Yes, so I ride on the canal path and it can be quite bumpy, and I was just wondering, is it normal to release a bit of tyre pressure if you don't want to be, riding like that? And apparently it is.
100%. So if you're going to ride on some bumpy terrain like the canal path, let a little bit of air pressure out of your tyres and give them a little bit of squidge and make life a little bit comfortable. So in order to do your tyre pressure, you're going to need something that looks a little bit like this. This is a floor pump or a track pump, and then down the bottom here, you've got a little gauge, so you know how to pump your tyres up. Now, a tyre like you've got on your bike, I'd say you're going to want to look in the region of around 40 PSI as a starting point for this, which might not mean much to you, but that's why you've got a handy little gauge on the bottom of your floor pump.
That's pretty cool.
Easy. Tip number 3 is use some mudguards and a pannier rack when you're commuting. It's going to help keep you a little bit cleaner and allow you to carry some more extra stuff.
I've already got one of these.
You're ready to step ahead of the game.
Hell yeah.
Is this a new bike?
Oh, it is, yeah.
Fantastic. So you've already got your mudguards, which are going to help keep your back, your bum clean, and also the bottoms of your legs and your feet with the front one. But also, using the pannier rack means you don't necessarily have to carry stuff on a backpack.
That's true.
So you could put your lunch on there, your rucksack, you could strap it in place, and it's just going to help make commuting a little bit easier. I really love that you're a step ahead of that. God, good work.
Tip number 4, taking care of your chain. Now, I don't know a lot about this. How do you do this?
Right, it's actually a pretty simple process. Your chain needs to have some lubrication on it to stop it squeaking. If you apply too much lubrication to your chain, all of the dirt and grime that comes off the road is just going to stick to it. It's all going to turn into a big gunky mess.
We don't like a gunky mess.
We don't like a gunky mess. However, if you don't have enough chain lube or any lubrication on it, when you ride along, it's going to be squeaking like a little dormouse, and it's just going to wear all the components out far quicker than you need to. So if your chain needs some lubrication, you just need to apply a little drop to each of the roller and pedal the bike backwards in one gear. Super simple. You can buy chain lube for a couple of pounds from your local bike shop, and if you lubricate your chain, it's going to be good to go for a few weeks. Once it gets kind of like filthy, dirty and gunky, that's when you're going to need to give your bike a good wash, put some degreaser on it to get rid of all of that stuff, and then put a little bit of chain lube on. Oh, it'd be good to go for another few weeks. It's actually pretty simple.
Yeah, that's a lot easier than I thought.
And to be fair, you've actually already got a chain that looks to be in good condition, so you're going to be good to go for a few weeks.
Yay!
tip number 5, we've discussed being seen, we've discussed keeping clean. Now we need to make sure our bike stops correctly.
Absolutely.
This is particularly important for you because you tell me you live at the top of a whacking great big hill.
Yes.
How's your commute this morning?
Well, it was all right, but I'm still a bit scared of going down that hill because my back brake is making a weird noise.
Okay, so talk me through this. What's it doing?
It's going...
Okay, well, fantastic sound effects there. I think what we're talking about here, if I spin this, you can hear it already.
Yeah.
So we've got... So that simply sounds like you've got a bit of grit stuck in the brake pad. So the brake pad is this little part here, and we can get a little screwdriver, such as what I've got here, and then it's a case of releasing the brake and picking out the little bit of grit that's got stuck in there. So all that is, it's just going to wear away at the brake surface and make that horrible noise. No big drama, the brake's going to work effectively, but it will wear out some of these components. Now you need to do the same sort of checks for the front and rear brakes because you want them both to work, both apply at the same time. And I think the most important thing to do is make sure when you pull the brake lever, it doesn't pull all the way back to the handlebar, because otherwise you haven't got enough force to apply to slow you down.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll fix that up in a minute. Nice. Okay, so that was actually a relatively simple fix, I'm going to say. However, if you're not confident in like disconnecting your brakes and trying to find the fault, which, let's be honest, a lot of people might not feel confident with that.
Yeah, definitely not.
Then it could just be a simple trip down to your bike shop, because that's like a couple of minute fix and would be pretty low cost. So that's tip number 5 done and dusted, but I have got a bonus tip for you and everybody at home. So first question, are you wearing a bike helmet when you're commuting?
Yes.
You are. I'm pleased to hear that. Is it held securely in place?
I think so, but...
Do you want to grab your helmet and check?
Yeah.
All right. So you just hold that out and I'll show you these bits. So at the back here, we've got this little retaining strap. So this is designed to put the helmet on and then you tighten this up to hold it in place and stop it going all skew whiff over your head.
Yes.
And then the straps underneath should be, let's do that up. So that, when it's done up, you should have enough gap to fit 1 or 2 fingers between the strap and your chin. Now, if you have any of these sections too loose, if you're unfortunate enough to crash, the helmet's going to move and not protect your head securely. So the idea behind this is to do them up firmly, but not so tight as to cause any like discomfort.
Yeah.
So there you go, it's a bit of trial and error, and you'll get it right.
Yay.
Perfect.
So those were some tips to make your commute safer, easier and more enjoyable.
And don't forget, if you've got any tips of your own, let us know in the comments section down below. And to see more bike tech videos, a little bit like this one, subscribe to GCN Tech and turn on your notifications so you never miss out on a future video. Right, we're out of here. Let's do it. Don't forget your bike.
Oh, yeah. How do I take it off?
Just lift it.
Oh, okay.
Like this.
Oh, there we go.
We're out of here.
Just get someone else to do it for you.
Yeah.